Okay, hello, hello. Oh, did it actually start the thing? Oh, okay, hello, hello. Okay, I guess we're I guess we're live. Um, I'm supposed to be able to like I changed back to OBS to try that. And for some reason it just activated my stream without me telling it to. So I have no idea what actually happened there. Uh, but yeah, so yesterday everything just completely broke. My Wi-Fi was constantly uh, going out, like it disconnected all the time, and I'm actually not sure why. It could have been because the iPad uses Wi-Fi, and then the camera also uses Wi-Fi. So I turn off Wi-Fi on the camera. I'm not using the iPad now. I've ordered like what's it called? A USB powered hub thing, which I'm going to use to connect the iPad directly. And also I'm going to connect the camera there because it still freezes. And I think it's because my Mac Mini doesn't give enough power to the, like there's a cam link thing, like no matter. Let's see, we are on this one. So let's see how this works out. Yes, so we were trying to implement actually um, adding, let's see, let's get back into this. So we were trying to add a backlog item, and we were implementing our update week effect. Let's see, here we have it. And then we have some code here. Let's see, oh, there we have it. And this thing takes in, yeah, models week is updating. I don't think we need, oh yeah, so the week is actually like the whole week array. Oh, that's interesting, because this week, yeah, we have to actually insert. Oh, okay, we have to change one thing. Okay, so what we do now is that whenever we toggle this stuff, let's see if I can fire up the dev tools here. Do I have it? No. Like the current Overman release is being blocked by me implementing this async JSON serialized parse thing, and it's not an easy thing to do. And I'm a little bit annoyed because it might not have been like necessary to implement it. But I needed like a challenge. It seemed like a fun thing to do, and it is a fun thing to do. And it will probably lead to something awesome at some point, but currently I'm kind of, this has been blocking the release for so long. Anyways, let's see what we actually do when we toggle this thing. So if I toggle Thursday, we're pushing active weekdays. So we should rather have, so if I kind of, yeah, how does this work? So I'm pushing for, this is one of the thingies again. Let's see, how do we do this? Because we have the week, and I can't remember if this week is based on, well, I guess we have a chance to change that now. Is this week like indexed by Sunday as 0, or is it not? But we're going to index by 0 now anyways. Oh, sorry. The week here is, I've used such bad naming here. So the days, yeah. So the weekdays is like a map for some reason. We could use an array here instead, which, so every value holds an array and it checks. Yeah, so we're looking up the specific day, which is an array, and does that contain the week event UID? That makes sense. We have to know that if we're adding or removing, which means that, okay. No, this is okay. Yeah, sorry. It's just me getting into the code here. Oops. So we are doing it the right way. What are we doing here? So we need a week event UID, which we already passed. Week, okay, week event UID. Oh, sorry. Now I see what I'm confusing. This is the action. This is the API. So we need a week UID, the profile UID, and then we need a callback, which gives us the current days. So this callback, let's just call it callback, and this gives us days which we want to be an array of number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe we should do something like this. Well, it's not even that. It's not number. It's an array of arrays, which is interesting. Can you do that in Firebase? Let's check that first. If I go to the console here, let's see. If I go to the database, let's take a look at, we have profiles, we have backlog. Oh, don't I have, oh, I don't even have any data on, oh, pretty limited stuff. Okay, but let's just try to see if this actually works. So if we have an array here, can that hold another array? No, it can't. Okay, but if I have a map here, then that field can be an array. Okay, but that's why we need to, that's why I did it. We can't have arrays in arrays. Just let me double check. Oh, wait, yeah. Yeah, exactly, sorry. Okay, so we are going to do the same. We're going to use, let's create a type for this. This is going to be part of our main state. Export type weekdays. And this is going to be a map of, it's going to be explicit because we're going to have either 0, which is an array of, which is an array of week UIDs, or it can be 1, which is the same, 2, which is the same, 3, which is the same, 4, which is the same, 5. And this is kind of, I find this really interesting in like, I guess, I don't know if you can even call it programming, but like figuring out these data structures to effectively do lookups and storing data. And that's what I like about Firebase, because you're quite limited in how to, what you have to work with. So you have to be like, not clever, that's not the right word, but you have to, it's like having a set of pieces, and you have to be kind of as creative and yeah, it's basically just this finding solutions under limitations. I find that really, really fun to do. because then you don't the thinking doesn't go to like all these different possibilities. It's very limited what possibilities you have, but then you kind of push this creativity because you don't spend so much brain power on all these other different possibilities. You just use it on, okay, what can I do with what I have? Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say. Cool. So now we have typed our weekdays, and yeah, I'm not sure how we're going to use this inside our main state yet, but we'll figure that out. Let's just use it now for our effect. So these are, let's see, weekdays. And yes, nice. Oh, and this returns weekdays because we're going to update these weekdays. Cool. Let's look back in our code. So update week, get data reference. What the hell is this? Let's take a look. Can we see it? Yeah, we're checking the profile. Oh, okay. So this is basically instead of, no, this is, oh, this is getDoc. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just, we called it something else. Okay, so let's go and grab the, did I call it anything specific here? getDoc. Okay, let's just, since it states getDoc, we're going to just call it doc. And what we need to do here is go and grab a collection of weeks and a specific document, which is the week UID. And we actually produce the week UID in the client now, which is perfectly okay because you want to store the data from the perspective of what the user is seeing, not from what the server is seeing. Get data wait, is this? Oh, yes, sorry. And then profiles. Okay, I didn't remember this. So we're storing weeks. Yeah, I wonder what else we have there. So under weeks, we have a document with a week UID, and then we have a collection on that document called profiles, which is the specific profile UID. Yeah, which is kind of interesting. I think I did this for compatibility reasons. So instead of having like one way of storing the week data for like a single profile or a family, it's the same. So when you're a single profile, if you just want to try out the solution, it will this will point to your actual profile document, and then it will create weeks and a document ID and a new collection of profiles, which kind of does not make sense because you're just a single person. But yeah, this is really about having like a family doing this stuff. It doesn't really make sense to do it on your own. It's just for like testing it. So yeah, I guess this makes sense. So we have profiles, and then with a document, which is the profile UID. Cool. So we have our reference, and then we want to, yeah, because this is interesting. We want to run a transaction on this. And I'm not really sure if we need to run a transaction anymore. As I mentioned previously, and yeah, like in the current version of the app, I'm allowed to, like any user can toggle the other user's weekdays, which kind of defeats the purpose of the app. The purpose is that when you toggle that day, it means like you are committing to doing it on that day. It's something like, it's a conceptual, and I think it matters for like the purpose of the app. It's about committing to stuff you're going to do. So you should like at least be able to toggle it yourself. And if you don't have your mobile nearby, you can use some other device since we're web-based now. So we don't need to run a transaction on this because you are the only user who can actually toggle this. Yeah. So we're not going to run that transaction, but oh, this is interesting. Create JSON days. Oh yeah, yeah. This is because of oh yeah, this is interesting. So if we don't have any data there, we actually create the data. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Oh, maybe that's why we're using a transaction. Because we need the current data and we're going to update that data. And yeah, so we don't use a transaction to block other people from like toggling your weekdays. We are using a transaction because we want the current value and then we call the callback to update that value. So it's just a nicer way to express it, really, instead of first grabbing the current data and then yeah, that makes sense. Or does it? Because there's also this thing where I want the user to be able to just toggle it very quickly. Yeah, but we can rather use a debounce for that. Because what happens in Firebase is that whenever we toggle this stuff, it will update the stream of weeks, which means that, well, it doesn't happen here because we haven't saved it yet. But when you start toggling days in the actual list of week items, those when you toggle them, there will be a data update on the stream back from Firebase, and if they don't align, the data that comes back and the data you see, you suddenly see stuff toggle off while you just toggled it. So the way I handled this in the initial version, I believe, is that I debounce the toggling. So if you toggle really fast, it doesn't run the request to Firebase. It kind of waits, but you still can get into this issue where you toggle really fast and you stop, it sends the request to Firebase, you toggle again, and then you get the data stream back, which says that, you didn't toggle that last one, so it updates the UI, and then you're kind of fucked. And this is the really difficult thing to do with real-time data, is that you want to, at one end, you want to like push in the truth from the perspective of the client, but the database doesn't really see it the same way necessarily. And with Firebase, you don't get like individual data item updates. You kind of get the full array of days every single time you toggle something. So you don't get like an event of you just toggled this specific day. It's like the whole week updated every time you toggle anything, which is very interesting. But I believe like the debounce thing in practice, that worked really well. And I think a lot of solutions do this in terms of real time. It's not like it's a perfect solution. It's never a perfect solution. You can always get into these situations where you like for a short amount of time, you're a little bit out of sync with the data on the server, but they kind of make the best possible solution. And this is an example of that, where we use debounce because we want you to be able to do it really fast, but as soon as you take a break, like for just like 200 milliseconds, it's sent to the server, it goes back, and it's very unlikely when you have waited like 200 milliseconds that you're like instantly going to, well, I don't know. Well, it's an indication that you're kind of done doing this. We could even we could wait even longer with the debounce to send that data. But what's interesting is that you might get in there and tap like a weekday exactly when the transaction is running with all data, and then you would be out of sync. And you would get this weird behavior. We could also ignore, that's also a way to do it. So whenever you are toggling weekdays, we could also ignore the data updates from the server on your profile. So you only get the other profiles' data updates. That's also a way to do it. And if there's like an error, you're notified about that error. That would be the best way to do it, really. Because then we just fire off requests to the server and updating this days array. And we don't care what version we get back on the stream if the client is in front of the server, because we just ignore that data, and eventually they will be consistent. And that's something you hear a lot with real time. It's like eventual consistency. But eventual consistency can be a really bad user experience. So you kind of have to find ways to get around that. So I think maybe we should do that. We're going to use a transaction. We're going to run it right away. And we run a transaction just because we want the current value. And then we and then when we are actually toggling weekdays, when we're planning our week, which we're going to implement later, we will just ignore updates from your profile, so that you get this feeling that you can just toggle on and off everything, and you will have eventual consistency. Oh, that was a long talk on that subject. I hope it made sense. Okay, cool. By the way, if my camera froze, it's this Camlink thing that's not quite working. I should get my power hub tomorrow, so hopefully that fixes it. Yes. So what we need to do now is we need to grab the snapshot on the transaction. And then we need to figure out if we need to create our days. And the reason we go through like a model here in Dart is that you don't really have like plain objects and stuff that you do in JavaScript. You kind of have them in Dart, but those are not like typed and stuff. So you do everything explicitly through these classes, but we don't really have to do that, which is nice. Okay, so what are we going to do? We are going to run that transaction. So how do we run a transaction? Firestore. How do we point to our Firestore? Yeah, Firebase, Firestore, run transaction. We get our transaction. Then we're going to get our snapshot. Get, was that the thing? Yeah, and then we need to pass our reference. And I guess I want to do this asynchronously. And we need to await this thing, right? Because this returns a promise, yes. So we have our snapshot, and now we need our days. And yes, we need to create this utility. But we don't need to do all this stuff. We can just call this thing. And then we can say snapshot exists. Then we just use a snapshot data, because that should now be, that's the great thing about Firebase and JavaScript. What you see in the database is what you get out when using it in JavaScript. While in Dart, for example, you have to convert, like transform every single thing, and you have to do typecasting like a maniac. I can show you an example of that. It's just insane. Look at this thing. This is the type. Oh, sorry, this is not the typecasting. Where is it? Yeah, so here you can see what you kind of have to. Well, that's not a good example either. I'm bashing like crazy on. Where is from? Yeah, maybe this wasn't the worst example. It's kind of a simple data structure. I thought maybe we have some models here? Yeah, that was even simpler. Yeah, the point is you have to implement these from snapshot things to convert the JSON data into something that can be represented by Dart. And sometimes, especially working with lists, you have to recast like a maniac to get the correct typing. It's just insane. But yeah, I didn't have a good example. It's another project I've been working on that has some really crazy stuff. Let's get this thing done. So if we have the data, we're just going to use the data, or we are going to create weekdays. Basically what this does is, yeah, maybe let us just inline it for now. Because it's basically just doing this. Snapshot. Oh, is it exist? Is this a method call? No, it's a boolean. Exists. Yeah, and then yeah, and this is one of the really bad things. No, have they fixed it now? That's nice. So this should be weekdays. Why is this ref wrong? Type document data. Oh yeah. Oh, wait a second. Do we actually get? No, we're not actually getting. Oh, wait, create weekdays. It returns days. Create JSON days. Days for each. What the hell? But on our snapshot reference, we are. This snapshot data isn't actually the days. This is the. What the hell? Snapshot.data is this object. I don't understand that. Created. So if we give, why do we only return days here? I would expect this. Oh wait, create day. Oh, I think I'm reusing the term here. Oh yeah. No, this is int and set of string. This must be broken. I don't understand this. Huh. That's really weird. Because we're actually not getting this. We're getting this back. So I'm wondering if, is it possible to like do it here instead? Yeah, so we can say this document is this structure. No, you're not allowed to do that. Firebase, yeah, doc. Awesome. So I'm not allowed to. Oh, this is so annoying. And if I do this, it says the reference is wrong because this reference is just document data. So this is just, I don't understand the typing of Firebase. You know, by the way, the reason I'm in like kind of a bad mood is because I'm having a presentation. And when I'm going to stop having presentations, because the way I come off now, I'm like this all day, like with my girlfriend, with my daughter, like short, ill-tempered, and it's only because I'm going to have a presentation and I can't deal with it. Like, it's fun having the presentation itself, but the build up to having it, I become this really, really shitty version of myself. So until the kids have moved out, I'm going to stop having presentations because it's not worth it. I don't want to, like this time I said yes like a week before, but that week I'm like this shitty person. And sometimes, and I've been asked for this other presentation in September, and if I say yes to that now, I'm going to be this shitty person until September. And that's just not going to happen. So yeah. I'll rather sit in my room and do these streams. That's a lot more fun. Even when things are frustrating, it's more fun. Argument of type. But how can I just want to say that the data here is this. And I am not allowed to say that's the data because the reference I use says that's not the data. And I'm not allowed on the document to say what kind of data is inside there. Or do I have to use it on the collection? Oh, I'm not allowed to do that either. What's it? Oh, didn't it say? Oh, sorry, collection reference. Yeah, it's a collection reference. So, but on a collection reference, yeah, I'm not allowed to. Huh. Yeah, I have no idea how this works. It's really, really annoying. So I'm not able to cast the type I want here. So it says it returns a document reference. Like, why can't I? Here I want a type. I want to tell this return type by inserting the document data I want here. Why can't I do that? It's the most obvious thing to me, at least, that I should be able to do that. Or do I have to do like... Okay, so let's try something else. Firebase, Firestore, document reference. Then we do this. I'm not allowed to do that either. Document reference, document data is not assignable to type document reference. Or is it like document data? Does that have a generic? Let's see. Maybe that's the thing. No, you see here, it can be anything. String any. So why does this fail? This is string any. Property days is missing in type document data. But that doesn't make any sense because document data is just any data. can't believe we're stuck on this. Document data. Field string any. Makes absolutely no sense. Okay, I have no idea how we're going to get past this in like a nice way. We'll have to like cast it. Because if I say, okay, so let's try this again. Firebase, Firestore, document data. If I say this, it's happy. And this is of type field string any. But if I do anything else, if I do this, it's okay. Foo string. And then it fails. It makes absolutely no sense. Well, it makes sense because this one is not typed to that thing. So you should really do it up here. But I'm not allowed to do it here on the document. This is where I need to do it. Because I have to change the return type. So I have to do, okay, so as Firebase Firestore document reference. So now I'm getting, yeah, but that's just incredibly shitty. It should be inside here. That's how you do typing in TypeScript. Okay. But what's it complaining about there? Type option snapshot. Oh, data. I think. Is it? No. God damn it. What is data? Yeah, it's a, you have to call it. But what's it complaining about now? So data. Okay, so maybe I can, maybe I don't have to check if it exists. This will actually give me undefined if I don't have it. And weekdays, why is it complaining about the weekdays? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What are you complaining about? It's missing the following properties. Oh, sorry. Of course. Okay. So if we have the, come on. If we have the, this is what I thought was wrong with the old implementation. So if we have data, we want to give it the days from the data, or we are going to pass in this. So we actually get the days. And then we are going to say transaction set days like this. And what are you? Oh, sorry. We have to give it the reference. Cool. So this is actually what we want to do. This was a bit of a mind-bending thing. It was partly because I named things a little bit wrong, and it's also a limitation of the database. You have this concept of collections and documents, and you can't just insert, like it's not just a document database. You have collections as well, so you have to kind of, I couldn't just insert these things directly on the document. I need to have like a value there, which is called days, and then I can put like our map with our data in there. Yes. So basically we have our update week now, which is good. And then we can, we have our toggle weekdays promise, where we, yeah, and now we need to pass in like the weekday UID, which we need to create, but I think we have to do that next time. So yes, so tomorrow we need to create our week UID, and then we can actually test this thing and store it. Okay, cool. Again, you have to excuse my mood. I explain why, and yeah, I'm having that recording on Tuesday, I believe. So when that's done, I should be in a much better mood. And until yeah, so tomorrow we'll do the rest of this stuff, and hopefully like I thought it would be one session, but we're on our third session now, and we still haven't actually passed anything to the server. It takes a little bit of time, but I think it's also like we have to take into account that looking into, like, I don't remember the database structure and how I did things. So I guess this is a really good way to revisit code, because we're going to find a lot of places where I've not been very good at defining variables and even commenting stuff. So we kind of get a raw display of how you should be careful writing your variables, giving comments in the code, so that when you do revisit it, you actually understand it better. So yeah, cool. Talk to you later. Bye bye.